Hello and welcome to the Three Geeks podcast. My name is Jason. I am joined by Philip, Max, Mike, Dan, Chris, and special guest Lola. Tonight we will be discussing a lot of topics from Prince to Robert Downey Jr. joining the Spider-Man movie. But first, tonight's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/3geeks. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. The last I was on this cast, I said that I had 36 hours left of it. I am now down to 32. So thanks to Audible, I've had a lot of fun entertainment. That book is so long. Jesus. We're barely through the phone calls. Anyway, Philip, go ahead and take it off, buddy.
All right. So kind of wanted to start off, Lola, and kind of have a little interview with you and just kind of discuss what got you into, I guess my first question, Lola, is what kind of got you really interested into writing and then kind of producing the material that you do, and kind of, is this something you do in your spare time?
Yeah, I still have a day job. I work 40 hours a week for the man. But in an ideal world, this would be my life, but maybe in the next 20 years or so. I've been writing since I was a kid, and I never actually completed anything until the 2000s. I completed a novella in the early 2000s, and then I started working on my first novel in 2010. I finished it in 2013, and it was self-published in 2013, and it's called Trudy Lim's Spaceship Captain Earth Detective. It's about an alien spaceship captain who lands on Earth and decides she wants to be a private detective. And of course she has a sidekick named Aurora, who's way smarter than she is and way more mature, and she basically takes care of everything. And that's on Amazon, Smashwords. I recorded that as a podcast. It took me a year, a year of weekends to do, and I swore I'd never do it again. But that is available. I've got that on Podio Books, archive.org, iTunes, wherever you get podcasts. It's under Literacy Stories. And I have it on my website too, lowlaracy.com.
So we're not going to hear you doing any of the Audible books then.
Well, you know what? There's this thing I found out. Now, even though I say I'm never going to do it again, I found out there is this thing where if you are a self-published author, you can make arrangements with voiceover actors to do an Audible audiobook. So even if you're not Penguin, your whatever publishing house, you can still get a book on audiobook. The thing is, I'm going to let someone else do it.
You can get Steven Weber, who's reading the It book to me right now. He's pretty good, and I don't think he's done anything since Wings, so he's readily available.
He's actually on a lot of TV. Do you watch iZombie?
I don't. I watched part of the first season. I really enjoyed it. I'm a Veronica Mars fan, and iZombie is very similar.
Well, it's the same guy. Rob Thomas, it's the same creator. He's on it, and he's really good on it. He's actually been on a lot. He was on Helix, which is a show that plummeted, started off good, went down to the depths of hell, and just swam around in muck until it was finally killed. He was in that. He's been in NCIS New Orleans, which I'm the only one I know who watches that.
Yeah.
He's actually been in a lot. He's had a geek resurgence. But yeah, if he'd read my book, I'd be all for it. He'd probably want money, though. I'm thinking more of the not wanting money type variety of reader. So I'll have to search for that.
If you're a voice actor and you're looking for a little bit of pro bono work, give Lola a call.
You know what? That publicity goes a long way. You'll be on audio books, you'll be on Audible, and thousands of people will hear your voice, and I'll put your name on my website. I got all kinds of incentives, so.
Cool. Yeah. So my other question was, what is like a favorite science fiction I guess media today? Is that book, TV series, or movie? Like, what is your absolute favorite? Because I know you're big into science fiction. I saw the podcast that you do, and kind of like where your novellas and your novels are coming from.
Well, there's a part of my brain that wants to say reading because,
Okay.
I was reading since I was a child and I've always loved reading. But then there's the tired part of my brain that says, Lola, you are still on page 100 of that book you've been reading for 2 years. Don't lie. Tell the truth. So I'm going to have to tell the truth and say TV. Because
Nice.
I can sit there and zone out and tweet and watch TV. I love The Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Game of Thrones. I love almost all of it. And Game
Yeah,
of Thrones is the book. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but the second Game of Thrones book, I've been reading that for like 2 years now. I got through the first one. But the second one, even with me skipping little bits here and there, I'm like, I remember from that show. I remember that from the show. I'm just going to skip that. So even with skipping it, I'm still like, oh, God, I'm still reading this book. Oh, oh, God. And now I'm off the hook because the books are all done for now, and I'm like, yay. I don't have to worry about book people spoiling it. Up yours.
Yeah, I read all the books. It is a rough read for Game of Thrones. Like I really enjoy them, but it's if you don't have like 100% focus and a bunch of time on your hands, then it's easy to get lost.
It's like
But
first of her name, second of her name, third of her name. Who are we talking about? Who? Wait, I fell asleep. What's
well,
going
yeah,
on?
there's like 80,000 characters in Game of Thrones, and then they all die. So
So what's the point? At this point, I'm like, everybody's dead. Like almost all.
oh,
I think we lost her for Lola.
froze up again.
Yeah, we lost her temporarily. But we'll keep it going. Philip, go ahead and take us into the first news topic till we get Lola back.
Sure. It's kind of a sad topic to bring up. Prince passed away. What was it? Thursday or Wednesday? I can't remember.
Thursday.
Thursday? Okay. Yeah, that's right. I was very surprised by that news. They still don't know why. And it's been great to kind of see the tributes and kind of everything coming out and people honoring him. I mean, I really enjoyed his music, and I really loved, especially the stuff he did from the 80s. That's more what I remember of Prince and what I really enjoyed Prince. The music he made at that time. I love Purple Rain. Me and the wife are actually going to rewatch that probably this, well, so since I work a weird schedule, my weekend, which is coming up in the next day or so. There we go. Mike's got it. Mike, you want to go a little bit? Talk?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll talk about his royal badness for a bit. Yeah, I enjoy the hell out of Purple Rain. It's a fun watch for me and a fun album to begin with as well. Just the one thing I really enjoy about Prince, and Max really brought this up on our last chat cave because we had a quick little chat cave over the weekend to talk about the Batman '89 soundtrack. But the one thing that Max brought up that I really appreciated about Prince was, despite him being really eccentric and being this larger-than-life personality, both off the stage and on the stage, was that he was a larger-than-life personality that you would only hear about when he was working on something. It wasn't like you'd hear about him in like the National Enquirer or whatever, like
Hookers and cocaine.
Oh, he's on,
Hookers and
yeah,
cocaine.
it's on another one of his binges or whatever, or he punched out a security guard or something like that. It was always just about like, hey, he's trying some new sound, or hey, he's gonna score this, or hey, he's essentially the reason we have a lot of like mainstream artists on superhero soundtracks now is because of him. So I'm going to appreciate that about him. I'm going to appreciate the music, especially because just that blues, industrial rock type of sound that he always tried to go for, but when he tried to divvy it up a little bit, was always appreciative. Like, one of his unsung favorite albums of mine is Emancipation, from his artist formerly known as days. And yeah, that was one of my favorites. But I'm gonna miss his influence on the genre, on the styles, on music in general, and hopefully I saw this crazy meme where he's like, sorry terrorists, there are no virgins left in heaven now.
I saw that.
Yeah, that was funny.
He's gonna be doing very well up there and playing lots of basketball, I bet. So here's to you, Prince. Cheers. Dan.
I thought we all agreed to have Mike go last when we were doing eulogies last time.
That's true. Mike doesn't have any.
I don't think we honestly expect
I
to be
can't.
doing this many eulogies.
I know. What the fuck? 2016. Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, it's horribly sad. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I mean, it sucks to lose somebody who was so talented.
What's your favorite Prince song or album, Dan? If you have one.
Honestly, I'd have to go with Purple Rain. Just I know everybody does, but I mean, from the movie to the soundtrack album was just friggin' spectacular. Sadly, the cool thing that we get from this is that you get all kinds of awesome tributes. If you haven't seen it, David Gilmour, from Pink Floyd, did a mashup of Comfortably Numb and Purple Rain, which is pretty awesome, actually. But yeah, Max.
We really went into it with to the chat cave when I was with Mike this last weekend. But my favorite album would have to be the 1989 Batman soundtrack. I mean, Prince is all over that thing. He killed it. Bat Dance, and Trust is my favorite song out of there. It's still my favorite Prince song. I just love the Joker dancing around on the street. Hubba, 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 money, 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 who do you trust? And, I mean, Prince, he's always just been that kind of weird guy. He's all, like Mike was saying, he just does his thing and then, goes away. And you don't hear anything about him, which is what I love the most about Prince. If you like what he's doing or not, you can't argue that it was done well. And I mean, he will be missed. I don't really have much more to add, but I mean, it just sucks. 2016 is the year the music died, apparently. But Chris, how did you take the news?
Yeah, it was rough news. One of the most interesting things about Prince of recent is that his entrepreneurship and want to take code into high schools and really pay to make sure that young people are getting an engineering education, especially in the Midwest, since he's from the Midwest. Being that's kind of one of the things that I've been working on recently, I really respect that. And, my most memorable Prince stuff is definitely the Batman stuff, for sure. I mean, the Joker, it's just like that's, and then, 1999, I spent my formative years in Florida, and the end timers were all about 1999, and it was really fun to celebrate them not being correct. So that was really fun, and so those are kind of the takeaways for me from Prince. But really, I mean, it's just amazing how well he stayed away from the tropes of the stereotypical people at his level of ability.
Yeah, for me, my favorite Prince album is the Gold Experience. It is an experience because it starts off with the song Pussy Control, which is like a rap song, and then it goes into like a hard rock song, to soul, and just the way that he would weave between genres so flawlessly was an experience that there's not a lot of musicians out there that can do something like that. But Lola, what are your thoughts on Prince?
I was very upset. I'm still very upset. I grew up listening to his music, and when I was in like 8th grade, I used to listen to the Purple Rain tape every night. I would flip it over, and I would fall asleep, usually before Purple Rain, but I would wake up when Purple Rain was on, and I'd be like, oh, I'm listening to Purple Rain, and then go back to sleep. I did that every night for a long time. So he's part of my history. I grew up with him, and it's just very sad. And he was one of the people I thought would live forever. I mean, I really thought, he seemed to have it together. You didn't hear about, drug things with him. He didn't seem to be getting in trouble. He's not one I would have pegged to have died before I thought his time was up.
Yeah, and I mean the early reports were saying flu. He had been in and out of the hospital for the flu. It's crazy. I was knocking doors and I got the text, so I didn't have my CDs on me, and I have Prince CDs at my house. So I went to Pandora and typed in Prince, and then got Michael Jackson, which I'm a Jackson fan, but I didn't want Michael Jackson. And then you click next, and it's not Prince, and you click next again, and it's still not Prince.
And that's all the nexts you get.
So then you go to Spotify, and there's no Prince on Spotify, so I had to wait till I got home. But yeah, it's a good, very good musician. Philip?
Yeah, so it's definitely a big loss, and hopefully we stop getting these big losses. It just seems to be building up on 2016, but I guess that's just kind of what happens generationally, is you just reach a point where, for better or worse, you start losing amazing people that make amazing either entertainment and amazing impact on the world.
Or at least sudden losses, because on that same day, who was it? It was China, the wrestler, and the mom from Everybody. Well, the mom from Everybody Loves Raymond. She was already in her 90s, so that was kind of expected, probably. But China was only 45. Prince was only 57. It's just like.
Do you think Prince would have done a good job as Kilgrave and Jessica Jones in The Purple Man?
Oh yeah, it would be
Probably.
Except for he's so small. I mean, she could have just like swatted him and he'd be down.
Yeah, I think it would have been good though to have that drastic contrast. He's just such a tiny little guy. She's so tall.
Well, don't get me wrong, David Tennant. He's a very charming man. Prince wouldn't have needed the powers of persuasion on me, man. Prince would be able to hypnotize me by just talking to me about anything.
Sandwich. Okay.
I read a story. He was Jehovah's Witness, and those are the people who come to your door and proselytize. And this one Jewish lady was saying he came to her door, and she was excited because she thought he wanted to use her house for a location. And he said, no, Jehovah's Witness. And she said, well, we're Jewish. And he said, well, can I finish? And she let him talk for 25 minutes. I would too. I'd be like, yes, Prince, you can talk about whatever you want to. Would you like some tea? Sit down and tell me about Jesus Christ. Let's talk about it. Just say whatever you want.
They were talking about Prince went to Walmart to fill his prescription. Could you imagine if you're working at Walmart and Prince walks in?
I would freak out.
Do you mind singing your prescription to me?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I also read an article that he was riding his bike just a few days before he died, and this girl who worked at Walgreens said she saw him in the parking lot, and he stopped and he was just resting, on the sidewalk or whatever, and she went up to him to take a picture, and he said no, and she was like, okay, and that was, her first time seeing him and her last.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah, that's so sad, and it's I don't know. There's not really much else we can say about that. It's kind of hard when something like that happens. Let's see. I don't really know if I have a really good transition.
Oh yeah, segue the crap out of this thing.
Come on, Philip, take us to something happy.
Someone needs to write the really interesting sci-fi story of whatever dark matter is going around and killing all of the good celebrities this year. There's got to be some strange mythical force of badness that's just doing it all at once.
The universe needs its army. That's it. Something big is happening, and it needs its army, so it's sucking up all the great energy from our world.
Right,
It's gonna be the Infinity War of pop culture celebrities.
David Bowie in orange, Prince in purple, and it just lights up in the dark. And they're auroras now, or
They were Infinity Stones, yeah.
Alan Rickman commanding the group.
Mike, if you don't make that, let me get this straight, I'm gonna be very disappointed.
That's awesome.
Lemmy has to play bass. Come on.
Yep.
So the next topic I have on here is basically we're going to kick into Independence Day resurgence. Kind of this is a good pickup. So I was skeptical about this. I wasn't anti-Independence Day, but I was just kind of curious where in the world were they going to go with this. And with the teaser, there really wasn't much. And then when they finally dropped the trailer, I was like, oh, I can actually see some material here that could be interesting and could actually make a plot. Whether or not it makes a great movie, that's a different story. But I think at least it will be a fun movie. I definitely have seen little snippets. I think they're trying a little too much to try and harken back to the original Independence Day with a couple lines. I can't remember what the son of Will Smith said, but basically a similar line to what Will Smith said in the original movie. And I was like, ugh, I was a little too cheese. I was like, they had some cheese back in that movie, but it was good, fun cheese. And I don't know. I'm curious to see kind of where they go with the president and kind of, or the former president at this point. Oh gosh, why did I forget his name?
Bill Pullman.
Bill Pullman. Thank you.
Grizzly bear.
Exactly, with the big beard. Yeah. Grizzly Adams. Go ahead, Lola.
Huh?
Oh, I said go ahead if you want to. If you're ready to kick it off and get excited.
I was just gonna say, as long as no one says, "Is this some kind of Suicide Squad?" I'll be happy. Talk about Will Smith lines. I'm like, just none of that, please. I'm excited. I mean, I loved the first one. The first one was like one of my favorite movies. I watch it every Independence Day, and I love it. I don't know why. I just do. I love Jeff Goldblum and Judd Hirsch, and Will Smith is okay, but you know.
But he's not in it, so it doesn't matter.
I know he's not in it. I'm like, yes, all right. We got a son, so that's cool. And I think Vivica Fox is in it too, isn't she? I thought I saw her in the trailer.
Yep.
So she's in there. So I'm excited. The one thing that puzzled me, though, we talked about this a little bit before the show. How is Data still in it?
I wondered that too when I saw that, because I was like, I'm pretty sure I remember Brent Spiner seeming like he died, but they left it up in the air. I can't say I remember him saying dead.
They never showed a dead body.
Well, he was being puppeteered by the alien, and his eyes were open. It was like, so it looks pretty dead. And I mean, because I thought at one point they said, oh, the alien is manipulating his vocal cords, which gave me the impression that the body was dead. It was just physically manipulating the vocal cords.
Yeah.
We'll have to go on Reddit. We'll go 200 posts deep into Reddit or something and see what other people say. And then
There you go.
come up and we'll be no closer to the truth.
That's so true of Reddit. I was gonna go to Dan next, but how about the man who hasn't seen it but is willing to comment, Max?
Yes, I saw the trailer, the teaser trailer or whatever for this movie, and I instantly wrote it off. And so when the new one came out, I was just like, I really don't need to watch this. From what you guys are saying, though, it looks like I do need to give it a peek. But I'm 100% unexcited for this movie. I don't think there's a sequel there. I don't know what they're gonna do. But I guess the little Will Smith clone is gonna say, "I've got to get me one of these," and then woo-hoo a lot, and then the aliens will die.
He's gonna say "damn" a lot too.
Oh, say "damn," yeah. Going, he's black, so we all do that.
Another thing, if they have another cigar at the end, it can be a Cuban cigar now.
Yeah.
That's legal.
Progress.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I guess I'll give it a look. I was pretty adamant I'm not watching it, but I guess you guys turned me around. I'll give it a watch.
This movie, when I first heard that they were making it, I'm like, why? It's been 20 some years. And then I heard about the first trailer, and I watched it, and the first trailer was better than this movie has any business of being. And then I watched the second trailer. I'm like, wow, this might be a fun film. Independence Day isn't going to win any Oscars. It's not going to blow a bunch of people away. But if it's a fun movie, it's a fun movie. I think I saw the first one like 12 times in the movie theater. And actually, since I saw it in the theater so many times, I have not been able to watch it straight through on home video since. Like, I've bought it on VHS, I've had it on Laserdisc, I've had it on DVD, and I've had it on Blu-ray. I've never watched the movie in one sitting. Like, I've always had to break it up since the theater experiences. But I'm excited. I'm glad Jeff Goldblum is working, because I like Jeff Goldblum in anything. I even watched a couple episodes of one of the cop shows he was on just because he was on it, because I think the guy's entertaining. no matter what he's doing, and seeing and what's the guy who plays his dad, Judd Hirsch?
Hirsch.
Mm-hmm.
But what is that guy drinking? Because he hasn't aged a minute since
Oh, it's been 20
'96.
Yeah,
I
he
know.
looks like perpetually 49.
He looks exactly the same, and whatever Data's character, I can't even remember the character's name, had.
Random scientist.
Maybe they'll bring Randy Quaid back too. Why not? We never saw a dead body there either.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man, he could have totally jumped out of the plane.
He's like crazy, looking
And,
like a Yeti and
G.I. Joe
Canada.
parachuted down.
Forget that. He's the warlord.
He is the warlord. Oh man, but yeah, this
Cousin
movie-
Eddie has to save the world. It has to happen.
All right, you sons of bitches, I'm back.
Yeah, but my thoughts on the trailer is this movie looks way better than it has any business looking. So kudos, because you've got me 100% there Thursday night before it comes out. Chris, what are your thoughts on the Independence Day 2 Resurgence trailer?
I've kind of tried to stay out of most of the hype around it because I want to go and see it and just kind of look at it Gone Girl, not even knowing what the premise was at all. But I've seen the first one, and it's somewhat a remake. It has to be, so it'll be interesting. But yeah, I'm okay with it. I love the first one. They can't take that away from us. So they can try, but somebody's got to hack the aliens. He's got to get him one of these things, and they got to smoke something at the end. It's just got to happen. So we'll see.
Maybe it'll take place in Colorado, and they won't smoke a cigar.
Yeah, now I'm down. They all smoke some big old spliffs. I'm doing that. That's for sure.
Dan?
Yeah, the first movie is one of my guilty pleasures. I can watch that almost any time. It's just so damn cheesy. So yeah, I mean, as long as they find more historical monuments to blow up and more goofy aliens to punch in the face, I'm down.
Yeah, there's even a line in the new trailer where they mention the fact that they're blowing up another historical monument.
Yes. The aliens love their historical monuments. There goes another one.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go a little meta with it, but we'll see. Have we gone to Mike yet?
Nope, we haven't went to Mike.
We're
Mike?
going to Mike.
Okay. I don't go into this type of movie with really high expectations. Back when I was younger and the first one came out, of course, at that age and at that time, I thought that was the greatest movie ever. And definitely with age, my excitement for the film has very much lessened, but I can still appreciate the enjoyability and entertainment, the value that it still can represent, just the cheesiness of it. And the nostalgia factor, definitely. With this one, all I ask is that it's entertaining, is that it doesn't take itself too seriously, which it doesn't look like it's going to. Despite all the mass planetary carnage that's going on, they still have time to quip about the landmarks getting destroyed, like you mentioned. So, as long as it's just as fun as the first one, I'll be entertained by it. Again, like you said, is it going to be, the ultimate cinematic filmmaking experience? Probably not, but as long as it entertains me for an hour and a half to 2 hours, that's fine. Just don't become brooding and introspective and all the other stuff that a certain movie earlier this month was. So yeah.
What movie would that be, Mike? Are you talking about Batman v Superman?
Nah.
Hold on, Philip. I want to just take 1 second and point out Mike's shirt. Mike, could you show the audience your shirt real quick?
And oh, what a lovely shirt.
That is a nice shirt with artwork by Mr. Mike McGee, and the links to our TeePublic and Mike's TeePublic will be in the link below, as well as Lola's links will be in our description for this video too. All right, Philip, continue.
No problem. All right, so the next one to kind of go off of that, I guess, is Inhumans has been removed from the schedule. Kevin Feige was careful to mention that it was not canceled, even though everyone's assumption is that it's canceled. And I'm sure there's even a rumor going out there that he has a desire to probably, to some extent, to cancel it, so that way the I don't know if there is that much of a vendetta between Perlmutter and him, since Perlmutter controls the TV universe and they're messing with Inhumans, and he doesn't want to give that much props. But at this point, that was over, what, 3 years out, I guess? I don't really see the benefit coming to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I see the show being done by then, but maybe I'm wrong. Because I just don't see enough entertainment coming from it for that long. But beyond that, I'm kind of sad by this news. I hope it's just a delay and it eventually comes out, because from what I heard about it, I don't know much about the characters. It actually sounded really like a really interesting concept and a different perspective. And they've touched on it a little bit in S.H.I.E.L.D., but it would have been more interesting to kind of see the I guess the Kingdom, because you had Black Bolt and a few others, and kind of actually go into how it worked and how their powers generated and kind of the history behind them. Let's see. How about Dan? Are you there?
I'm here.
All right. You want to go? You were frozen, so I couldn't tell.
Whatever.
Whatever.
I don't know.
And Dan with the Rondell answer of the day.
I don't really know enough about.
Okay. I was hoping.
Yeah, my bad. I picked Mike. He should know what's going on.
You know, like you mentioned, it's indefinitely on hiatus, but it doesn't mean that at some point they will get around to in some way, shape, or form. Honestly, I'd say make it an event series on TV, since, like you mentioned, S.H.I.E.L.D. is working on that particular plot line right now in its series, and is frankly doing okay with it. You know, it's not the forefront; they're still focusing on S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, but the Inhumans are definitely part of it. I'd say just go from there and make it like a mini-series event. That way you can just blow all your budget on Medusa's CGI hair and Black Bolt leveling cities with his voice, you know, and then that can be it for them. Just make it like an event series either on ABC or on Netflix or whatever. I can tell you, I'm sure the only person who's really like devastated by this news is probably Vin Diesel, because he was the one who's been rumored for many times to be in the running for Black Bolt. But I'm sure they'll find another role for him to actually play flesh and blood instead of just coming on board to say 3 words all the time. Even though that's the easiest job in the world, I don't know why he would complain about that. So to come on and say I am Groot several different ways sounds like the easiest and most fun job ever.
Yeah, and then go home and play D&D all night. What could be better?
Exactly. Exactly. It's like, but you know, he might still do it. Who knows? But yeah, that's my thought. Is like, since you already got the concept on TV in some way, shape, or form, just keep it on TV. Let it be its own thing there. Max.
Yeah, Karnak is my favorite character out of the Inhumans. I like him. His power is he can see the flaw in any one thing and exploit it. So he's a pretty badass character. He's got a pretty good comic book, a solo comic book out right now. But I mean, as far as them canceling Inhumans, I don't really. I'm kind of with Dan on this one. I don't really care. All these, you know, they've made plans for all these movies so far out that it doesn't really affect you at all. I mean, like if they had gone and canceled the next Avengers movie, that would actually be kind of even newsworthy. But yeah, this is, like they're just moving stuff around. I don't know if they're putting another movie in that slot or whatever. But again, it's not supposed to come out for 3 years. We've got like 8 different big, huge movies coming out before then, and
well,
so I mean,
I think part of it very much was that, one, they weren't counting on incorporating Spider-Man anytime soon, and when they did, they're like, oh crap, let's jump on that. And the second one was they weren't counting on Ant-Man to be as successful as it was, and then they're like, oh, we got to sequelize that.
And I'm down for a Spider-Man movie and another Ant-Man movie. So if that's what they're doing to Inhumans, then fucking humans, like give me give me some more of that stuff. And we'll see how Spider-Man does in the Civil War movie, but I mean, I think I can agree with most of the internet and say like fuck the Inhumans anyway.
There's a new international trailer or an international TV spot of Civil War where Spider-Man takes on Winter Soldier.
Yeah, so that's gonna be That's gonna be badass. I'm glad I haven't seen it though.
I saw that.
The movie's like what, 12 days out?
Last 10
days?
8 or 9.
It's coming up the 6th, right?
5th. Thursday night.
Oh, okay. Yep. But yeah, so we just got another week pretty much till Civil War comes out. I'm imposing the media blackout. But Chris, how do you feel about the Inhumans?
You know, I really like them on S.H.I.E.L.D., but I feel like they need some more time to really develop enough of a real following before they can make a movie out of it. And I was kind of hoping maybe that I would hear from you guys that maybe this signals some lowering of the, you know, of the hostilities around the X-Men, and maybe this means that we've got some talk of maybe mixing them into some of this stuff. I don't think so. I think it's really just making room for Ant-Man, but that's fine because, you know, Paul brought it up. Let's get it back in here. You know, Vin Diesel's got his spot, and if he doesn't like making a lot of money per word, then like I don't know what his job is. So,
do you think that having Vin Diesel play another Marvel character would confuse the general public?
Except no one would know.
Wait a minute, isn't that Groot?
Sounds like Groot.
But the thing is, the character Black Bolt doesn't talk, so therefore he can play that character. And when he does talk, it can be distorted.
As a part of the viewing public, I would be very confused if Vin Diesel showed up and I'm like, I'll keep on waiting for to say I'm Groot, and he never fucking says it. I don't understand what's going on.
I've been waiting for Captain America to burst into flames for 5 movies now.
You see? You see?
It's too soon, Chris. But there's 2 theories surrounding this whole thing. One is that Marvel's going to push it out to Phase 4 because after the events of Infinity War, the whole universe is going to be different. What better way to, you know, start a new universe than with the Inhuman storyline? The other theory, and the more popular one, is Kevin Feige and Perlmutter hate each other very, very much. Perlmutter runs the television division. Feige runs the movies. Feige's movies have done nothing to reference the television series at all. Like, he has completely ignored that there's even a TV universe. Perlmutter does everything he can to remind people that he is somewhat connected to the larger movie universe, and you know, they're saying that Kevin Feige doesn't want to help by making an Inhumans movie when S.H.I.E.L.D. is so focused on the Inhumans. So they got a little conflict in Marvel. You know, some of it's public, some of it's not, but whatever.
I really hope that's not the case.
I don't watch S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't like the show. I've tried numerous times to get back into it. But I would love to see the Inhumans tackled on Netflix because everything Marvel has released on Netflix has been gold. 100%. 24-karat gold, and I would love to see the Inhumans on there.
If I was Marvel, I would take everything off of network television and just switch it all to Netflix shows. Like, there's no reason to put it on ABC anymore.
I liked Agent Carter, but I think it would have been better had it been done on Netflix.
Yeah, I agree. But so are the people who are doing the ABC stuff and the people who are doing the Netflix stuff the same people?
It's same head.
Yeah. Promoters in charge of all that. But, you know, ABC is Disney, so like that's.
And the Netflix stuff still says an ABC Studios production, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like whoever's running the writers' room and the showrunner and you know really storyboarding out the photography over the Netflix side has a lot more momentum in their court than the person who's doing the same work for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, they can get away with a lot more on Netflix than they can on network television.
Maybe that's it, but yeah, I mean, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is just it's too slow.
I don't know. Maybe I would keep Agent Carter on TV, but not add any episodes or anything. Like have it still be the short season, and maybe lengthen the episodes a little bit.
I like Agent Carter.
I like Agent Carter doing what it does on TV.
I think this season was it. I think this season was it for Carter.
Yeah, it's done.
It's done.
There you go. Now they got less on ABC. Just go ahead and take it all off. Move it over to Netflix.
I think they'd have to totally retool Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. if they brought that over to Netflix. They'd be like, you know what, let's just start over. Netflix would probably be like, no. Sorry.
Yeah, I think they would leave it.
Netflix signed Adam Sandler to 6 movies. I'm pretty sure they're taking everything they can get.
Oh, did you hear about the new Adam Sandler movie? It's about some kind of loser guy who meets this really hot woman, and they fall in love.
So it's his fantasy, basically.
So she's all that.
It's every other Adam Sandler movie he's ever made.
In one of the movies, he even had to have the girl lose her memory for it to work. The 51st date. The girl was like, okay, only if I don't remember you. That's the only way I'll do it.
I was still on the Sandler train for that one. I jumped off with Grown Ups 2, and I haven't liked any since.
I never watched that.
Good for you. Don't feel bad about that.
Right. I liked the 51st Dates, and I liked Punch Drunk Love. And I think that's
Punch Drunk Love is so good.
That's a good movie. That was, what, 15 years ago?
Yeah, we're all better off that wasn't Sandler alone, though.
I think
that was Sandler serious. That he's okay serious now.
Yeah, he's a good serious actor, I think.
I wish he'd do more of that.
Yeah.
Well, he does have 23 movies with Netflix, so we'll see how it goes.
I could tell you one thing: if this one with David Spade that comes out, I think next month, if it sucks, we're gonna see a sequel to Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore real quick.
Has anyone seen the Joe Dirt sequel?
No, have you?
No. I just know it exists, and I've been too afraid to watch
Crackle for free.
It was a Crackle release. Crackle made the movie. Like David Spade. Like, how bad do you have to be that you can't get a deal with Hulu or Amazon or Netflix? You got fucking Crackle making your movie. Like,
Crackle, but that's the thing though. Crackle's like, you can be a big fish in the small pond, or you can be a small fish in the big pond. How do you want to play it?
Crackle's like, we've got Joe Dirt too, or whatever, That's like their tent pole.
Yeah.
Well, they got comedians in cars getting coffee too, I think.
You know what? I've watched a few of those and I liked it. I keep meaning to go back and watch more.
Yeah, it's fun. Jerry Seinfeld's fun, and they got reruns of Married with Children and Bewitched.
That's cool.
We're completely off topic, Philip.
Fine. It's more entertaining that way. You don't have to worry. I trim the fat as we go. I reduce topics. But it kind of it's sort of off of I don't know, Marvel. That's going to be my segue. Guardians of the Galaxy is going to actually have Nathan Fillion in it again. This time as Wonder Man for Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I guess in the first one I didn't realize he's the big buff alien that basically tries to make oh my gosh, why did I forget the character's name?
Star-Lord?
Chris Pratt. Star-Lord. Yeah, Star-Lord is bitch. And then just gets owned by Groot, which was an awesome scene. I love that scene. So I'm interested to kind of see him actually in a more interactive role where you actually kind of get to see his personality come out and kind of see what they do with the character. So I'm kind of curious from that. So we'll see. Jason, is your voice good enough? I know you're a huge Nathan Fillion fan. So
I am a big Nathan Fillion fan.
You're excited for this.
This news shows that Marvel and James Gunn, they listen to their fans because the fans have been clamoring to get Nathan Fillion into one of these movies, as Nathan Fillion, and it looks like they're gonna grant the fans' wishes and let him come into the universe. I am a big Nathan Fillion fan. Everything he's in, I have seen. It's fantastic.
Twice.
Probably, actually. I have not seen the Percy Jackson series.
Oh, he's in that?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
So my quick side note. So my boss at Time Warner, he saw the back of my car. He's like, I need to take a picture, send it to my wife. We're big Firefly fans, and I'm like, that's cool. And he's like, no, you don't understand. We have the show, we have the movie, we have the Big Bang Theory episodes that reference Firefly. We've got the Percy Jackson movies that reference Firefly, and the Castle clips that reference Firefly. So big fan, but I thought that was a funny story. Anyway, Max, what do you think of Fillion?
Again, this is going to be an issue because he's going to show up and I'm going to be like, how come he's in a gigantic alien messing with Star-Lord? And then he's going to start talking and it's all going to get super weird. I'm going to get confused. I'm probably going to dip out. It's terrible. This is a terrible idea. That's all.
And there's some precedents with Nathan. Huh?
Oh, nothing. I was just saying, go ahead.
There's some precedents with Nathan Fillion working with James Gunn. He was in James Gunn's movie Slither. So,
I really like that movie.
I like that movie, but there's a certain part that makes me gag where the girl is like infected or whatever, and she keeps blowing up and blowing up. I can't watch that.
Michael Rooker is great in that movie too.
It's awesome. It's a good movie. It really is a good movie. It's just hard to watch. It's gross. But yeah, so he was in that. So he already knew James Gunn, so maybe it was just a little bit of like, probably Nathan Fillion going, hey, can I be in your movie? Hey, can I be in your movie? Hey, can I be in your movie? And then James Gunn going, oh, for goodness sakes, okay, you can be in my movie.
It's probably true. Dan, what are your thoughts?
Sure, it's a great idea. You just need to keep adding like more, people that we know from Comic Cons into every movie, and then they'll be everywhere.
I was gonna say Rooker's already in it, so you're right.
Yeah, so you just have a giant like sci-fi mashup. I mean, it can be like Guardians of every freaking thing you know from space. It'd be great. That's all I got. I mean, all I can really say is it sounds good or it sounds bad. I don't know.
Well, I loved the first movie. That movie rocked my world. I was singing those songs for a week.
You and everybody else.
I want that mixtape.
Oh, also, the parts in Slither where the people are blowing up and nasty things happen, those are the best parts of the movie.
I just can't. It's just like, it grosses me out. Still a good movie.
Who else we got here?
Chris?
Yeah, so as soon as Fillion gets added to something, I get to watch it because my wife will enjoy it then. So, and since basically every show has it, like, shows have that first season where they've got to figure out how to get people to watch it, and then the second season they get to become the show they were supposed to be in the first place. And then the third season, Nathan Fillion cameos on them. And the fourth season, something good or bad happens. So, yeah, I mean, after this, he needs to do something on Game of Thrones and die quickly. And then there's just he needs to be on everything. So making the rounds.
I get it. I know. He's a long lost Stark, and he comes into the last episode. Everyone's dead, and he's like, "I'll be the ruler." Sits on the Iron Throne.
And then the Firefly spaceship comes and picks him up.
That's $1 million idea right there.
That is it. All right. Or the Firefly ship drops him off, and he lands right in the Iron Throne, and he's like, "You know what? This is a cool planet. I like this planet. I think I'm gonna
Shiny.
And then George R. Martin goes, just as I imagined the ending. And that's
And he dies peacefully in his sleep.
Mm-hmm. I like it. All right.
Hey, Mike, do you have any ideas? What do you think about Nathan Fillion?
I like Nathan Fillion. Damn it, he took the role I've been training for. I said this a while ago. It's like if there was one Marvel character who I think I could possibly pull off if I actually got into shape for it, it would be Wonder Man, but not anymore. Damn it. So there's still something. But I don't know. It just depends on if he's just gonna be the Simon Williams persona or if he's gonna be full-on Wonder Man in this movie. I'm guessing it's gonna be just the civilian identity, and maybe along the line he'll eventually transform into Wonder Man, because from what I remember, Wonder Man comes about as a result of Baron Zemo's experiments, and Zemo's set to appear in Civil War. So we'll see. But of course, Ant-Man was supposed to create Ultron, so all the true to comic stuff has been thrown out the window with some characters. But I kind of like it. I love that James Gunn, out of all of these directors who have come into kind of the Marvel pool, he's the one that really pays back to his regular stable of players. Like, for example, you mentioned Michael Rooker, and finding little spots for Nathan in the previous movie, and also, his trauma roots, because he was able to get Lloyd Kaufman a small cameo as one of the prisoners. So, I mean, it's really kind of neat how he's able to really pay back to a lot of the people who have helped him along the way. So I think this is just a natural progression of that, yeah, Nathan Fillion would eventually get a full-fledged role. But again, we'll see because there's a lot of characters already in this movie and possibly a Stallone. So
I'm gonna break the law. I am the law.
That would be awesome if he actually came up as a guard and said that line. But
Oh, I would die.
oh, speaking of segue from Stallone to something else, there you go, Phil.
well, thank you. That perfectly segues into Power Rangers Repulsa.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be Judge Dredd. Sorry.
Yeah, man.
No. I mean,
Makes sense.
Drop the segue ball on that one, Philip. You did.
Out of Tara Reid or whatever. Not Tara Reid. What's her name? I forgot her name.
Elizabeth Banks.
Elizabeth Banks. I don't know why I said Tara Reid. Elizabeth Banks. I like her.
Wow, you compared Elizabeth Banks to Tara Reid?
Yeah.
Elizabeth Banks has much more going on.
Exactly, I know.
Elizabeth Banks, we formally apologize.
Thanks. Well, she does do those old Navy commercials, and they're annoying, so she's kind of dropped down a little bit.
Speaking of whitewashing, Elizabeth Banks, if you would like to replace Max on our podcast, feel free. You could be the new Max.
Who was supposed to be me last week? Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson
Johansson.
is going to be
I'd rather
recast as
have
you.
Scarlett Johansson be the new Max still. I mean, no offense to Elizabeth Banks. She's pretty awesome. But, I mean, come on.
I think you'll still have a job, Max.
Damn it.
So,
So we should probably actually talk about the picture rather than just show
oh
the
yeah, I
picture.
forgot about the picture.
You've been showing the picture. I mean, everyone's.
But if we recast Scarlett Johansson as Max, does she come out in blackface or does she come out white?
No, it wouldn't be a whitewashing if she came out in blackface.
Okay, I just wanted to check.
You could
Black,
have
white.
and get an afro, but you'd stay white.
Yeah, give her an afro. That'd be awesome. Like the O.J. Simpson one from Naked Gun 33 and a third.
They could probably still get that thing.
Max, we have everybody shaking their heads. Can we make this any worse than it already is?
No.
Rita
I'm gonna try
Repulsa. How about that?
Rita Repulsa.
Power Ranger
Looking
stuff.
pretty good, yeah. This the photo got released, and Elizabeth Banks is looking really good as Rita Repulsa. I like the reimagining of it. We'll see. We'll see how this Power Rangers movies go, because I don't have a lot of hope for it to be like, I feel like, with Independence Day, you're not expecting a whole bunch out of this movie. I'm just gonna go back and try to capture some of that joy from my childhood, but we'll see how it goes. But I do like the picture. I think she's looking good. So that's one thing.
I agree. They graduated the cones and they got rid of the weird hairdo and modernized it a little bit. And
Kept the weird hairdo.
if it's got Jason David Frank's seal of approval, then it's got to have mine. So I think it looks cool. Again, Power Rangers was a big part of Max and I's childhood. We had a club and everything. It's a good time. I want to see this movie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking forward to it. I can't believe I'm saying that as a 33-year-old human being, but I'm looking forward to the Power Rangers film. I don't know what else to say. Lola, any thoughts on the picture or the Power Rangers in general?
I just wonder if the same person who did her costume is the same person who did the Hunger Games costumes, because it definitely has that opulence. It's like something about her. They want to dress her in like all this like gold and green and just over the top. I love it. Don't get me wrong. It's just that they've definitely typecast her now.
Isn't that Lenny Kravitz?
In the series, yes. In reality, probably not. Max.
Whatever, man. Lenny Kravitz is awesome. He can do anything.
You could also recast Max.
No, you can't have Lenny Kravitz.
Why not?
Because he's black.
So?
How is it a whitewashing if he's black?
But Lenny Kravitz is awesome.
I mean, yeah, he is awesome.
Have to. So
Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with anything.
He could replace Rondell.
Okay, we'll get Lenny Kravitz to replace Rondell. And Scarlett Johansson to replace me.
There you go. Sorry.
And then we'll get Elizabeth Banks to replace Lenny Kravitz.
God.
Nice.
This podcast is giving me a headache now. We've replaced so many people.
Mike, do you have any thoughts on the Rita Repulsa picture?
Or on recasting Max and Rondell.
It looks fine. I'm not a Power Rangers person necessarily, so whatever. Dan.
And Mike with the Round Aliens.
Mike, you keep taking my response. Yeah, it looks cool. And if you've seen any of the made-for-TV movies, I mean, this can't be worse.
I like the original Power Rangers movie that they came out with. I still like that movie.
I do too.
I'm not talking that one. I'm like, you know, Power Rangers, Samurai, This Is Christmas, or Halloween.
I've never seen that, Dan.
No, they made like seasonal movies.
They
I
did.
think Dan is a closet Power Rangers fan.
No, I tried. I don't see where you.
It's okay. It's okay, Dan. Your secret's out, bro. Just.
Oh, damn it.
It's okay.
Speaking of things that Netflix will pay for, like all of that stuff is on Netflix. My son discovered Power Rangers recently and went through a phase. It looks like Rita Repulsa is very green, so she's taking on the Green Ranger evil approach. It'll be really interesting. I can't hear her doing that like I've smoked 36 packs of cigarettes voice, but we'll see.
Well, they'll just do what the series did and just dub it in.
I mean that would be perfect for this, right? Like then it can't sync up to her lips properly, and it'll just look like Samurai Christmas Rangers. Take on the Space Rangers.
Yeah.
There, everyone.
I was trying to make sure no one was trying to talk. So the last topic that I have before we kick into video game news and comic book news is Batman: The Killing Joke. The trailer got released today. I don't know. I think everyone except for probably Chris, and I don't know about Lola if you all got to see it.
I haven't gotten to see
Okay. It looks really good. It's the animated movie. I still haven't seen the whole reason. Okay. So I didn't see the exact reason why I think it's going to be a hard R like they're talking about. It definitely looks more, I guess, aggressive. I want to say definitely more violent than more of the traditional ones. I'm kind of curious. I love the art style. It goes straight back to the Batman from the 90s that I remember and enjoy. So I'm kind of curious to see where they're actually going to go. It looks really good. So let's see. So Dan, you got a chance to see it. So what are your thoughts?
It looks pretty cool. I mean, I like the old. Shit. What was that called?
The 90s one or which one?
You know, the ones that we watched, Max.
Oh, Max can't hear you right now.
Not paying attention. Okay, whatever. I like the old Batman series from the 90s. That's what this animation looks like. It's to me, except it's made for grown-ups. So it's made for me, and I like it. Yeah, the trailer seems kind of weird. It's got, you know, a thing that was Commissioner Gordon and weird bondage things going down a roller coaster. Whatever. I'll watch it.
Nice. Mike?
I haven't gotten to see the full trailer yet. You guys?
Oh, we were interrupting you. Sorry,
Yeah,
sir.
it's all good. No problems. It happens. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm interested, like I mentioned before, I'm interested to see like what they're going to add on to it as a feature in order to pad it out to feature length, because it's definitely a shorter story. But I'm excited to have Kevin Conroy back and to have Mark Hamill back, definitely, to do this iconic Batman story, and I hope it does very well. I'm looking forward to that. And I think the R rating superfluous. I mean, it was going to be grisly regardless, so still excited.
Cool. Chris, did you get a chance to see it, or have you heard anything about it?
No, and I'm pretty kind of fresh on Killing Joke altogether, but I know this is kind of where Harley Quinn is supposed to get her start, and we're supposed to really get some interesting depth there. I know that they're reimagining the origin of Harley Quinn a little bit from being less psychological and more chemical in the Suicide Squad, so I wonder if they're going to keep that around for this Killing Joke rendition or not.
Hate to burst your Harley Quinn's not in this. Hate to burst your bubble.
Okay, well.
Sorry.
Deal breaker. No, just kidding.
Is it a deal breaker for you if Harley Quinn's not in it?
No, it could be interesting. I was just talking to somebody about how I don't know whether or not I actually like Batman or the idea of Batman, since Batman was the superhero movies that we grew up on, as much, because I haven't been into the New 52 stuff like a lot of you guys have. So I'm going to have to get reacquainted and see what it's all about.
Cool. Yeah, Jason, Max, are you all back? I'm going to go with probably not, because you're muted. All right, so we're going to hop into our next segment here. Yep. So we've got video game news. I see Max very upset that he doesn't get to talk about Batman. So I'll narrate for you all. For those of you who can't actually see, Max is throwing things around the room. He's trying to get his phone to talk. But anyways, so I'm going to hop into video game news. The biggest one that's most interesting to me, and I kind of was hoping to get some of the people's feedback, because I know a lot of, I think it's John Romero. John Romero is actually coming back and has announced from id Software from back in the day, if you remember Quake, and then pre that Doom, I believe. Yeah, I think that was that. Yeah. And then they have a Kickstarter for a new FPS Black Room. So I guess for me, historically, I'm kind of interested to see where John Romero could go with this, if he's actually going to be able to push the boundaries, or if it's going to be something where it's not as okay, Max, are you actually back? Is your audio working? Because I'll go back to you for the Batman Killing Joke, because I know you really, really want to talk about that. No?
So I'm.
There you go.
Oh, great. Now I'm doubled up. Fucking.
We're gonna have. That's what happened to me before.
All right. Yeah. No. I watched the Killing Joke. Am I still on this thing?
Yeah, you're good. We gotcha.
Yeah. I watched the trailer. It looks pretty good. God, I can still hear myself.
We can't hear you, so that's the good part.
The animation is a little. It's weird. It's kind of throwbacky.
Mm-hmm.
But so Batman's got the super large ears, and his costume is kind of just really simplistic. I liked it though. And Mark Hamill, his voice acting for this one is a little darker than he normally does it. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they do on this one. But I did like the trailer. I'm definitely going to check it out. Check the movie out when it comes out. I'm super excited for it being rated R.
Nice. There you go. Max got to get his 2 cents in. Of course, with the Batman hat, it all makes sense why he has to.
All right with the world.
Yeah. So I don't know. Did you all really remember like the id Software games? I don't know. I know I'm a big games guy, but I was wondering if any of you outside of Chris, did you used to play id Software games, or even I know Dan did for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was all over id Software as a kid. In fact, one of the only books that I saved in my last big book purge was the book that is the behind-the-scenes story of how Carmack and Romero met each other and how they made the company. And Carmack is kind of the ultimate software engineer, and being that's what I do. I really look up to him as being, that engineer who could transcend the stereotype and just remain an engineer and run the company from engineering and all that kind of stuff. But as far as like how bad the falling out was between Carmack and Romero, and what Romero has still stayed into doing, and what Carmack is doing now with, because Carmack is running Oculus from a CTO's perspective, and they've got some interesting stuff coming. But Romero has just like continued to be like, driving a Camaro into the Caco Demon guy. like forever. Like that seems to be like his thing. So we'll see what he can do with it, but like I don't know what kind of interesting stuff he can bring to FPS now that we've got like add jewels to your gun, mechanics going on. Like
Bejeweled.
the only thing he can bring back that I would really love would be rocket jumping. Bring it on with the rocket jumping.
So I will say that he did talk a little bit about it, that he wants to get that arena style back, which a couple of game makers have been trying to do in the last few years, which was really what Quake was. I mean, rocket jumping was just I guess, I don't want to say symptom because that makes it sound very negative, but basically a piece of that arena shooter. So I'm kind of curious. Lola, did you ever really get into computer games?
No, even though I'm a geek, that's one of the things I never really glommed onto. I never got too much into video games, except for Myst. I loved Myst. But other than that, I never did. But a lot of my friends are gamers, so I know a lot about them.
I gotcha. Yeah, so it's interesting. And then, Mike, did you have any comments or not really? Nah, I gotcha. You're good.
Sounds fun.
And then I guess the only thing I wanted to drop off, just because this was a question I think we had many months back, was whether or not Rock Band 4 would actually live up to what they said they were going to do. They actually are turning into a platform. They are going to release practice mode and online multiplayer this year and expanded hardware support. So I'm actually interested to see kind of where that goes, because that'll be one of the first games that actually kind of does that that's not a true MMO in like Destiny or things like that. So I'm kind of intrigued, because you're not paying monthly for adding those features. You're paying once and you actually get them. So it's kind of cool to see. Dan, did you have comic book news, sir?
I do have some comic book tidbits.
All right.
First, DC Vertigo is undergoing a whole lot of structural, I'd say, reconditioning. They got rid of their vice president. Yeah. And that's all they're saying now is restructuring. So hopefully that'll get us something cool. I fell out of reading the old Vertigo stuff after they ended Preacher, and Hellblazer was getting kind of stale. Has anybody else checked it out recently?
Not recently. I would say Preacher is probably the most recent Vertigo comic I've read. Also, it's very, very good.
Oh yeah.
I would say go read it. But yeah, I don't read a whole bunch of their stuff.
Yeah, I don't really go in for the regular Vertigo stuff lately. Just more or less if there's like a one-off, publication, graphic novel that catches my eye that's on the Vertigo imprint, then I'll get it.
And now we see why they're restructuring.
I think Image does a much better job, with the lesser known or the creator-owned titles and stuff like that. Vertigo, I just don't think has been a real contender in the game for a while now.
No, I mean, Vertigo, when it first came out, it was cool and edgy. But after, years of that, Marvel did Max, and then you had all the upstart companies come up, and I don't know, I think it just killed them off.
I think including a lot of the Vertigo regular characters and so forth into mainstream DEC kind of hindered it a little bit, took off some of the edge, perhaps.
Yeah, it definitely did on Constantine. Secondly, now that the New 52 is ending, for some reason, DC is bringing out the old bloody Superman logo from the Death of Superman, and they're changing the final bit of the Super League and titling it "The Final Days of Superman" again. So there's been a lot of chatter about it, but I don't know. Mike, Max, anything?
I was recently talking to somebody about if when Superman started, he wasn't everything he is now. He was just more powerful than a locomotive and able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. So that'd be cool if they were kind of doing a giant depowering of Superman to kind of bring him back to his normal, or not to say his normal, but his original status, because having this god run around kind of takes away from all the stories. But again, I'm not the hugest Superman fan anyway, so I mean, I hope they kill him. I hope they kill him again, because why not?
Nice. Mike?
I have no idea what that means, if anything, but yeah, it's Superman in the comics has never really been one I've been drawn to necessarily. From what I understand for the Rebirth stuff is that Lex Luthor will actually be kind of a Superman figure for a while, and there's actually going to be a Chinese Superman, but with different it's not the new Superman. It's just a guy who has Superman's powers, but he's from China, and Superman will be around definitely, but as to whether or not it's going to be the continuation of the New 52 Superman, or if they're just going to start fresh with his powers and origins, we'll see. Like I said, it's not really the end of the New 52. It's like it's a very soft reboot from what I understand, and that a lot of the ideas are still going to carry on from the original run of New 52, but they're just going to expand and retcon a couple of things. But we'll see. We'll see if it gets my interest. I'm definitely going to go get that, what is it, an 80-page first issue?
Yeah.
And it's only like $3, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll get it just to see what it's about. But if that doesn't catch my interest, then I probably won't follow, aside from Batman, maybe.
I've already signed up for that, their new Hellblazer run, and something else that sounded cool. I don't know. Back to Phil.
All right, thanks. Yeah, so I think that wraps up our cast for the night. Jason, did you have any last-minute announcements, or?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do, Philip. Tonight's podcast was brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/3geeks. There's over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. I highly recommend the book Stephen King's It. It's 48 hours long, and it's read by Steven Weber. He does the voices, and it makes me happy as I'm reading it, listening to it while I'm sleeping. It's awesome. And then it freaks me out because I wake up to a clown.
He was in a Stephen King, when they redid The Shining, he played Jack Torrance.
Yeah, I actually like that one. I know a lot of people don't like that TV movie.
Oh, Philip. Oh.
Hey, I enjoy it, Dan.
That kid's a giant hair lip and nothing happens. Sorry, I'm done.
Lola, you want to plug your website again real quick and everything?
Sure. You can find out more about me at lolalaracy.com, and Laracy is spelled Lariscy. You can get the free version of my audio book, me reading my book, which I know there are flaws in it. You don't have to tell me, but you can if you want. But I spent a year of my life doing it, so before you criticize, just remember a year of my life. My book's also available on Amazon, Smashwords, and other outlets. I also do podcast with an outfit called Scannerdrome.com, like Videodrome, but with Scannerdrome. And we do hangouts just like this every other Saturday. In fact, Saturday we are going to talk about the Blade Runner, the director's cut. And I was going to say, y'all are invited to join if you'd like. It's going to be around 8 p.m. Saturday. So that's going to be our thing this Saturday. And we do that, and I've been chopping them up into audio podcasts and putting it on our audio feed.
Lola, here at Three Geeks, we embrace haters. So you gotta invite them in and have them, because like hating is how they show love. So when someone hates on your year of work, just be like, hey man, I'm glad you spent the time to hate on me.
They took time to think about it. They're commenting on it, so it made a question.
Because they're thinking about you way more than you're thinking about them.
They're probably staying up at night feverishly thinking about how much they hate it.
We had some.
It worked, huh?
We had somebody hate listen to our entire podcast. They just kept commenting on it, but they kept getting further into the video and commenting about stuff further into the video, how much they hated everything we were saying. It was communist and all this other stuff they were calling it. It's a good time.
Hey, it's another view for you.
That's right.
Mhm.
But all of Lola's links will be in the description of this video tomorrow. I'm going to update it all. You can also check out Mike at www.youtube.com/Mike McGTV. Mike, as they said earlier, they did To the Chat Cave where they discussed the 1989 Batman soundtrack and kind of did a small tribute to Prince, so definitely check that out. And I believe that's it. What's that?
We having Sean on next week?
Yeah, we're going to have Sean Forney on next week. He is promoting a Kickstarter project, which we will get that tweet out too. Also, got a question for anybody who is watching our video. Just let me know in the comments section below. I just finished the second season of Hannibal. Now, I want to know, is it wrong that as I'm watching this show, I think the food looks delicious?
Yes.
But it's regular food.
No, it's people.
I know it's supposed to be
food is people.
people, but I think it looks good.
You don't know.
All I'm saying.
Mads Mikkelsen is so method that he actually kills people and eats them for this role.
Whatever it is, it looks good. And when he was feeding the one guy the leg, his own leg, I wanted to
that was
go.
that dude's actual leg.
I wanted to go to Arby's. I got in the mood for roast beef.
They've got the meat.
What's that?
They have the meat.
They've got the meat. Arby's.
I was about to say.
They've got the meat.
Of all the comparisons
They
you
don't say
could read for, of all the fast food comparisons, you go with Arby's.
It looked like roast beef. I'm sorry, the way he was cutting it. I'm just saying.
Special sauce. I like the spicy pepper sauce myself.
Don't eat the special sauce.
Mike, Arby's isn't normal food. It's got to be something else. I mean, cannibalism? Maybe.
No, I mean, granted, the ear, that didn't look good, but I'm just saying the food that Hannibal puts on the plate, it looks good. That's all I'm saying. And I looked it up online because I didn't think it was a real thing. I was like, Hannibal cookbook. They actually have a cookbook based on the TV show, which I want to get.
I'm concerned about you, Jason.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave here really soon.
If you guys don't see Max for a while,
please
Keep
call the
your
cops.
phone on.
Replacing him with somebody famous anyway.
On that note, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to go work on my Mr. Ed fan fiction. Everybody have a great night from all of us at the Three Geeks Podcast.